Welcome to the Headset Podcast, a podcast focused on gravel cycling. Here, we'll interview gravel cyclists from various backgrounds, including industry professionals and regular Joes. We'll review industry equipment and real-world application and provide race, ride, and event recaps from around the world. There's so much to discover in gravel cycling, so grab your drops and let's get graveling. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Headset Podcast. Our guest on the show today is Jason Cormier, the founder of Cyclepaths Gravel Cycling Club in the Atlanta metro area. Jason is a gravel cyclist, has been for some time, and is here to join us today to tell us his story about gravel cycling, endurance sports, and how he got started. So, Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome, man. How about you tell us a little bit about yourself? How you got into gravel cycling and what is this Cyclepaths Gravel Cycling Club?
Yeah, so actually I moved down here 5 years ago from Connecticut. Didn't really do any riding up there. Once I moved down here, I realized how big mountain biking is, road riding is. So I bought my first mountain bike off a marketplace. It was a Giant, and started riding that around, learning the trails. Met a bunch of people. Everybody I've met is super nice, super helpful. Started doing a lot of mountain biking. And then I heard, I guess like a lot of people, I never heard of gravel riding in my life until I moved down here. And once I heard that, I was pretty interested. So I took my mountain bike and did a little part of Dirty Sheets. And it was hard. It was very hard on my mountain bike, but I loved it. You get to see so much more than you do out in the trails. So then I bought my first gravel bike. It was a Jameis Renegade. Bought that off marketplace also. Rode that for a while, and just felt like I wanted something a little better. It was an older bike. It didn't have disc brakes, and I met a buddy, Colby. I think you've ridden with Colby before. He had a Trek checkpoint that was on a trainer. Never seen gravel, never seen the road. Sold to me for a steal because he wanted to get a carbon. Mm-hmm. So once I got that bike, totally fell in love with gravel riding. And I do a lot more gravel riding than I do mountain biking now. I just love being able to go a farther distance, seeing different things. I've seen a lot of cool things out there. And the best thing is I've met so many great people. Everybody is super nice, and nobody talks down to you. Everyone helps you out, gives you advice. Fixed my bike on the side of the trail where I didn't know what I was doing. So that's really how I fell in love with it, and just keep going with it.
So you came here 5 years ago, not really a cyclist. And so the gravel community is what really brought you into gravel cycling. If it weren't for that, would you still be on your mountain bike? Or maybe not?
Yeah, I'd probably still be out there mountain biking. I still mountain bike. We have a weekly group ride on Thursday nights at Cocker Mill, and I do some. If I'm not gravel riding on one day and the weekend, I'm mountain biking the other. But like you said, it's a community. It's everybody I've met. Everybody, we'll talk about Cyclepaths, but we have 676 members to date, and everyone's just truly amazing. When we hold our group rides, everyone, it's a lot of camaraderie. It's really great.
Yeah, I came to one, I guess it's been a few months ago now, as I was starting to get ready to go to Unbound, and came out and just started talking with people. I think it was the first Cyclepaths ride I had been on. And yeah, it was really great. The community that you've inspired to continue there has been really great. Everybody was helpful. Everyone wanted to give me advice, but not in a way like there's a way that some people give advice and it's like they're telling you what you should do because they know better than you.
Definitely. Yeah.
That's not how I experienced it. How about you?
Same here. It's not the way I experienced it either. And I wanted to start this group. I did a couple offshoot rides, and the only issue I had was I couldn't keep up with those guys. They were 16, 18 miles an hour pace, and I'm new. So I kind of shied away from group rides after that for a while until I met a few people we started doing our own, and we really enjoyed it, taking our time. We're not out there racing. So my goal with Cyclepaths was to start a group rides of all level riders, no matter if you're beginner, intermediate, slow, fast. Um, and it's really for, all men, women, whoever wants to come out, all ages, just to have a good time. And we're not out there to race. We're out there just to have fun and get some exercise.
Yeah, having fun is a key component to the group ride, but also to the gravel ride. Another common theme that I've heard from several of our guests that, this is supposed to be a fun endeavor. It's not a race. We're out there to enjoy the countryside. And so many times when we're, in our rides, those of us who've come from a more competitive side, we get stuck in those head units, those bike computers, and all we can see are the numbers. And it's really nice to just stop and look around and be like, oh, there's a cow over there. That's pretty cool, and or
Yeah.
what circumstance is. So yeah, it's a lot of fun in that regard. And you get to share that with other folks. And I think you've built something really cool there. How long have you been running Cyclepaths?
So that it's about 2021 where we actually kind of got a small group together, and then we're like, well, let's make a Facebook page and see how many people we can get to join. It started off slow, but once people got the word out, it started kicking in, and everyone's been coming, and we get a good turnout pretty much every ride. Um, some rides, people hang out after and just chit chat, talk about their bikes or whatever, and we go on to the next ride.
Yeah, about how many folks do you have at each ride now?
I would say you have anywhere from, I would say, average 10 to 20 people on a ride, on a group ride, and it's really a mixed bag. It's, people that are just starting out that have never ridden a bike to people that are a little faster. We kind of, all our rides are no drop, so we're not going to leave anybody behind. We stop at intersections, turns, and kind of wait up for everybody to rejoin. Have a drink of water, have a quick snack if you want. Just enjoy the scenery, and then we move on. So we're not out there. If we're, doing a 20-mile group ride, we're not trying to get that done in like an hour and a half. We're just having fun, like you're saying, looking at the cows, um, old barns that are falling down. There's just so much cool stuff to see out there. I never knew it until I started gravel riding. When I'm mountain biking, you don't really see a lot of that. You're kind of more 5, 6, 7 mile ride through the woods where there's not a lot to see. And it's brought me to some great places too. Places, different towns that I didn't know were out here. Still learning since I've only been here for 5 years. Seems
Yeah.
like a long time, but it's not.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, that's kind of a short time. I've only been in this area for about 15 years, and until 5 years ago, I lived outside of what we call here in Atlanta, folks. We have the bypass around the city. We call that the perimeter. So I used to live
Yep.
outside the perimeter. I'm inside the perimeter, and I've been here for 5
Oh,
years now. And I've learned more about the city and the trails and everything in those 5 years I've lived inside the city than I
yep.
ever imagined outside.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, it's different. And I was actually just looking up before we met. Since we started the group, we've had a total of 60 group rides. Event group rides that we've had so far. So I think it's going fairly well.
yeah, that sounds great. And is it pretty much the same people every week, or you get a mixed bag
We
of?
got, yeah, there's a core group, I would say, 8 people or so that kind of always there. And then depending what the ride is, I guess, and distance, some people, you know, want to ride a little shorter distance. That way we try to kind of have two distances for people so they can pick if there's enough people to lead both rides.
Yeah.
We have an offshoot of the Social Sunday ride. I think you've been to a few of those with Veronica, and we've had upwards of 50 people on those rides.
Wow. That's a great thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what's the ultimate goal? Is just to get people to share the love of gravel cycling?
Yeah, I mean, that's my goal. It's just to get people out there that who want to ride gravel, aren't, don't want to not come because they think they can't keep up, or they're gonna, look like a newbie, as people say. It doesn't matter to us. You can come, you know, like I said, we've had people that, I think our last ride, somebody came, an older gentleman, and that was his first time on a gravel bike. We did 20 miles. He loved it, and he's been coming back ever since.
Wow.
So yeah, and like I said, back to those other rides I've done where, they're dedicated 30, 40 miles at a fairly fast pace. I don't know. It wasn't for me. So kind of why we wanted to do this, more of a social type of ride pace for our groups.
Yeah, I think the term is party pace, right? Is that the term
Yeah,
y'all?
party pace.
Yeah, the party pace, it's
Yep. So
and there are a couple of the rides I've been on, there are those guys that like to sprint ahead, they are stronger riders and they like to sprint
yeah.
ahead. Again, to what you were saying, the etiquette there is that they wait, they're going to stop and wait. And
Yep.
we mash up if somebody has a mechanical, like, me. Uh, if anybody follows me on Instagram, you've probably seen the I gotta fix a bike. Yeah, that's my bike going down. And yeah, so everybody stopped, everybody helped chip in for that ride and get my bike back rolling because we're out in the middle of nowhere land. There's nobody coming to,
Yeah.
so the community is your savior.
Definitely. I've a couple rides, I'm not a really good bike mechanic, and busted two chains out there, had no clue how to fix it. People stopped, had the tools, had the parts, kind of like, let me take it and I'll show you what to do. And I was like so grateful for that. It was amazing. Um, so yeah, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, I really love the community of gravel. And I think as more and more people leave other forms of riding, whether it be mountain biking or cyclocross, road riding, whatever, and come into gravel, we've all been in here long enough to know what the culture is. And I don't know, is there any fear for you that folks from outside will come in and try to change what gravel riding is?
Uh, I haven't really thought about that. I hope not. Um, haven't seen it yet, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we haven't seen it yet. I know I kind of have a foot in both worlds of the social world and kind of the semi-amateur race world. I do a lot of competitive events. I'm not very competitive at them. I like to finish.
Yep.
I have no illusions that I'm going to be out there and podium, overall top one. But I like to get out
Yeah,
fun, and meet these other people that are doing the same thing. So
definitely.
there's some concern in that world that team riding is going to take over and and we're seeing teams get into gravel cycling, but you know what?
Yeah.
It doesn't gravel cycling doesn't have to be a not team sport. It's a community sport.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. I've done some chain buster gravel races myself, and I kind of party pace them too. I just want to do it, get out there, see different people. And there's the first couple I've done, I was amazed at some of the bikes people have, just the different components, brands, everyone's willing to talk to you and share about them. And I'm only thinking the main guys that you know of that built these bikes, and not some of the other ones. So yeah, it's different.
Yeah, that was there was a race ride. It wasn't, I guess it wasn't really a race, but it was kind of a race. I think we all experienced called Border Wars. Um
Oh yeah,
that
that was
was
a good one.
that was a great one, right? That really prepared me for Unbound this year.
Yeah, especially that mud.
Yeah, that peanut buttery mud, man. It was great.
Wow.
So let's talk about that. What about course conditions, weather? How do you select the route when you're going to ride? What's your process in that for route selection?
Um, I would say I work with a couple of like Trek, Snowy Bike. I've hooked up with them a lot, and they send me all different routes. So I just have them all in ride with GPS. And for the Cyclepaths group rides, kind of stick to the area, like Dirty Sheets, Sonoy. a couple other places just because that's where I'm located and some of the other guys are. So we kind of move around each weekend, and then the weather is the hard thing down here. It's hard. Like I have a ride this Saturday. It's a beginner gravel ride. It's we're trying to get more people that are new to the sport to come out, and we're hoping they are. But it's showing rain, so kind of keep an eye on that. And I usually try to call it like the night before. Give people time to, if they want to not go out, if it is going to rain, plan something else the next day, so they're not like, oh man, now I have nothing to do. But it's been a little difficult with that, with the weather.
Yeah, the Atlanta weather's always difficult, especially this time of year. We're starting to get into summer, and the summer weather patterns are very hard to predict. It might say no rain, and you get out there and it rains, but
Yeah,
some of that is, it is what it is, and like you said, you have the routes, and I've been in one area of town where it's not raining and talked to somebody. Well, I went and got rained out today, so it's
yeah. The other hard thing is come summer when it starts to get real hot. Some of these routes, there's no place to stop and refuel and get more water or snacks. So when it gets to hot out, we look for routes that might go by a store, gas station where somebody we can refuel if we need to, because there's not much out there in some of these remote locations. And I know myself, if it's hot and I got a 34-mile ride, I want to make sure I can get some more hydration in me to make the rest of the ride. And that's key.
yeah, you definitely don't want to have anybody falling out on a ride because, well, they didn't have enough, and you didn't have a route plan that gave them the opportunity. I've
Yeah.
heard that a lot of churches around the area like have outside water spigots and will leave them on. Have you ever experienced that or had opportunity to utilize that?
Yeah. There's one specifically on Dirty Sheets that we use quite often. It's when you tee into a road, you can go left towards Serenby, but if you go straight across, they have like a pavilion and they leave their faucet on. So some of us will refill there. It's probably a little more than a halfway through the route. So I think it's a great spot for it.
Huh.
We and down in Sonoy, uh, there is a water at the pavilion, but that's kind of where we start a lot. But I haven't really seen much along the way, unless we go a further distance. Um, we can hit Fitzgerald Fruit Farm, where they have their bathrooms are open 24/7, and you can go in there and grab whatever you need. So that's a great spot too to stop for those longer rides.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Don't forget, folks, if you want to support the channel in other ways outside of YouTube, you can always join the Patreon. Patreon members get access to unedited podcast videos. So jump down to the link in the description, join the Patreon, and support the channel today. Now, back to the show. Yeah, I think I was on one of those rides that went down there to the fruit farm. That's a really pretty area down there. And
Yeah, it's a great ride, but that route is minimum of 50 miles, so 50, 60. So it kind of shies some people away, but some people like it also. But there's another gas station we stop at right across from the brewery down in Gay, um, that you can refuel and get snacks also there. So there's kind of two spots out there.
yeah, so you don't shy away from people saying, "Hey, I need to stop, take a break. I need to stop and refuel." Or some groups are like, "Hey, we're self-supported. You better bring everything you need." That's kind of how I like to roll anyway, but and not rely on them.
Yeah,
But not everybody's like that. So it's good to know that you know you consider that kind of thing, and especially the longer group rides over 30 miles. Like that some people might not have the access to hydration packs or frame bags or things like that. And that's
yeah,
especially starting out.
yeah. There's I found out quickly once you buy a bike, there's so much more that can go along with it that adds up quickly.
Yes, it does.
Hydration packs, lights, tools, all that type of stuff. But when we post a ride, like this one this weekend, I put in there's no store stop. So kind of bring plenty of water if you need it. And I have a couple bags on my bike. I always load them up with stuff and, and share with everybody if they need it. Cause, some people just don't have enough with them.
Yeah. And with the beginners coming out, people who are new to gravel cycling, when I was new to gravel cycling, I wasn't aware of how much more difficult it was than road cycling.
Yeah.
It makes sense when you think about it. It's looser terrain, it's bigger tires, it's less air pressure. So when you think
Yep.
about it in that context, yes, it's much more difficult. But yeah, with beginners coming out, not really understanding maybe how much harder a 20-mile gravel ride is than a 20-mile road ride. I could do a 20-mile road ride with one bottle and still have water left over.
Yeah.
20-mile
Yeah.
gravel ride, I'm probably going to be hitting that second bottle before I'm finished.
Yeah. It definitely, especially if it's warm out, you'll be
Yes.
going through a couple at least. Yeah.
So what kind of bike do you have now?
A 2022 Trek Checkpoint in AL4.
Okay.
That I bought from Colby because he wasn't using it, which was steel, so I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, I
Come
couldn't
home with a
be offered.
third bike, and yeah, the wife's like, "What are you doing with that bike?" Just try it out.
Want it for you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but since I've bought it, and it's been riding a lot. I've upgraded a few things, nothing major. I bought the Red Shift kitchen sink handlebars, which I love. I bought their shock stem. I have their seat post stem now,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, and a few miscellaneous bags, but and you got to have computers, so I have a Garmin.
It's important to know your route, and at
Yeah,
least explore it. If you've never ridden in a place. So have you ever done like a drive by for your route and like, I want to do this route, but I don't know the area. So I'm going to go drive it first and kind of see what's going on here, see what kind of terrain is.
yeah, I haven't really. I'll go out there and ride it myself, kind of on a slower speed, just to get a feel for it, and, like make sure there's no anything's blocking the road and such. We have a route in Sonoy that is a beautiful ride, and it goes out by the Powerhouse Brewery. And recently, they have shut down. They made one of the roads that goes by it. It's not public anymore; it's private. So we lose a good mile of that really nice area where you can see that brewery up on the hill.
Mm.
Now we have to reroute, go down on the actual road for a couple miles and then get back in. So stuff's always changing. Just got to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's true. Stuff always changes. And like you were saying, roads wash out, downhills wash out. There's a route that I do over in on the other side of Atlanta called Murder Creek. And there's a pretty significant downhill. I think it's about a 6% grade downhill.
Yep.
One direction. It's uphill. The way I ride it is usually uphill. But if you're coming from the other way, the right side of the road on that downhill can be a complete washout. And if you don't know there, and you're riding to the right side of the road, you could be done really quickly.
Yeah.
What would you say the most important thing to a new gravel cyclist would be? Like, what is the best advice for a new gravel cyclist?
I would say just take it easy when you're on the ride, and if you are with a group, I was kind of shy at the beginning. I didn't want to ask a lot of questions, didn't want to ask for help, felt kind of weird, but everyone's, like we've said a million times, everyone is super, super nice and helpful. So if you're a new rider coming out, introduce yourself, tell us it's your first or your first few rides. We'll give you some advice, who the main lead is in case something happens, and just have fun. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody. We're all out there just to have a good time. Like I said, just ask questions. Everyone more than happy to help you out.
And yeah, on the topic of friends, like every group ride I go to, I meet people. One of the Cyclepaths rides, I met a couple of guys. I went out to we keep talking about this place, Dirty Sheets. It's out to the east of the city, 30-40 minutes or so, not a very long drive at all. And I
Yep.
was pulling in with my bike, and two of the guys that I met on that Cyclepaths group ride they were getting ready to leave, and they saw me, they saw my bike and my truck, and they like flagged me down and came running over like, "Hey man, how's it been?" how are you? It's great to see you. Jason's out here somewhere. We just passed him a little while ago, and you
Yeah.
were finishing up about the time I was getting started, I think. And that's how
Okay.
we missed each other. Um,
Yeah. And that, for everybody, Bear Sheets might be a little far for some, but that's a that's a great place. Beginner, all levels. Just it's 21 miles. There's some other loops we can make it a little more, but the basic loop is 20 miles, and it's a beautiful area. You see a lot, and it's a great ride.
yeah, it's a really great ride. I love the barn quilts out there. It's just a really picturesque place.
Yeah, it really is.
Cool. There's some cool scenery out there for sure. And there's some good gravel and varying terrain. That's something we
Yep.
haven't talked much about is the types of gravel that you ride and what's your favorite type and what's your least favorite type.
Well, I like it. I kind of like it a little hard packed, smaller gravel. There is some areas. There's a couple routes where they lay down these big chunky stuff. And
Oh, the big chunky like railroad gravel.
yeah, it might have been where there was an old, big flood or puddle, and ground was washed out. If you hit that stuff, it just throws you all around. Um, you got to be careful of your tires. You don't want to get a pop tire. But I think Dirty Sheets is has a great mixture, a little bit of everything. There's a couple areas where it's a little chunky. There's some little bit of sections of road, real nice, smooth, fast rolling stuff. Some washboard. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything, I think.
Yeah, it really is. And this last weekend I was out there and they've laid some new gravel in some places. So some of it can get a little loose and squirrely. And then there's
Yeah, I had just missed you out there. I think we left by the time you got there.
yeah, I think we had just missed each other. You were leaving as I was coming. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
but like I said, they had laid quite a bit of new gravel. It wasn't that big stuff, but it was definitely loose.
the conditions change when you're out there on the gravel. It's
Yeah, I think we hit a couple weekends ago. We started out and it was a light rain for about 5 miles, and then the sun came out and it was beautiful. All the dust had settled because of that little bit of rain, which was nice. You weren't getting all that flying dust in your face.
yep.
Um, but for Dirty Sheets, if you park at Hacker Mill, it's a great place. It's $5 to park, but they got bathrooms, they got a pavilion, go right across the street down to the waterfall. It's a really nice park also.
It is. It's worth the $5 to park there to have a secure place for your vehicle, a place to change clothes so you don't have to, ride out there in your riding gear and then ride home in your sweaty or wet riding gear. It's
Yeah,
a
that's never fun.
no, it's not. I've had to do it a
Yeah.
couple of times. It's like, oh, I don't want to ever do this again.
No, and just for that, I just ordered it came in pop-up changing shelter
Oh yeah.
for our rides because I see guys, or even girls trying to change behind their car, not being seen. And like, man, we need a little something because we could be remote. So I bought this thing. It's great. It's got a floor, pops up. You can go in there, change if you want, and you're done.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah, so I think it'd be a good addition.
absolutely. So that's something you bought specifically to bring to the group rides for cyclepaths?
Yeah, I had bought that, and then a while back, when we started more for when we did our Sunday socials, I bought a like a Blackstone griddle, and we would do hot dogs and such afterwards. And now that's getting nice. I think can start that back up ourselves after some rides, depending what area we're in. If I think people like to hang out after and just talk.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that, right? That's part of the community aspect of gravel that I saw even at Unbound after the shakeout rides and even after the big dance, the 200. It was 1:30 in the morning when I got in, and there were still people
Oh
out on the
wow.
street waiting for you. Um, People handing you food when you got out and just, hey, how was your ride? They wanted to know about it, and I think that's a big part of it too, is the after ride part
Yeah.
where that community solidified. We make friends on the ride, but we build community afterwards. And I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, because it's no fun. You do your 205 miles, come back at 1 in the morning, no one's there. Everybody's gone, packed, and went home. You're like, oh man.
Yeah. I mean, there were still people out ringing cowbells and the gate, and the gates
That's
about
awesome.
long. And there were still, it wasn't, full of people, but there were a couple dozen people out there cheering you in at 1:30.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
It really felt good, and then there
Yeah.
was my training partner. He was there. He had done the 50 miler earlier. He was there waiting for me too. And,
Awesome.
he took a video of me. You might have seen it. Right. I bunny hopped the finish line. And he's like, where did you have that energy after 205 miles, And
Yeah. I would have been crawling back.
it was from the community, though. It was from those people that were there, right? Waiting for you to come in and wanted to hear your story. And that's what kind of inspired me to start getting more stories out there and talking to people like yourself or Amy or
Yeah.
and others that I'm lining up to come on and just talk about your journey into gravel cycling. What's it been like? Where are you going with it? Why do you love this so much? And I think so far the resounding theme has been community. It,
Yeah, definitely. And, we want anybody who's watching this or, posting, come out, don't be afraid. We want to see everybody and we want to just make more friends. I moved down when I did move down here, I knew nobody. Met a few friends mountain biking and then and it just grew from there. Now it's just almost anywhere you go on a ride, you'll see somebody and then hey, how's it going? And you stop and talk for a minute. And you keep going. It's just great. It makes me when I get home, I'm so happy that I went out there and rode and saw some people.
all right, Jason. Well, hey, man, it has been a pleasure to have you on the show today. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us. Talking about Cyclepaths, you said 670-ish
Yep,
members.
676 at the moment.
Great. Well, I will get the link for that Facebook group. I will put it in this description down below. If you're in Atlanta, if you're looking for a gravel group to join, hook up with the Cyclepaths. If you're coming to Atlanta to visit and you want a gravel group to come ride with, hook up with
Yeah,
Cycle. If
yeah, come on out.
see what's happening in the Atlanta gravel scene, hook up with Cyclepaths. It's a question we didn't ask. Where did that name come from? Cyclepaths.
Uh, you know, it was kind of just a goof between me and my wife, actually. Um, it's funny because when I got into this gravel cycling, I just wanted to do it all the time. I'm like every day the weather got bad, and she's like, you're a psychopath about this. And then I'm like, man, well, let me think. And then we came up with that name out of that Cyclepaths Gravel Club, and it kind of just stuck because she was always calling me, you're crazy, you're buying all this stuff for your bike and this and that. That's all you're ever thinking about. So that's how that name came about.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah,
We are Cyclepaths for sure.
yeah. Well, I just wanted to thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure, and I follow your content. It's great. I hope others are, and just see you back out there.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Any nuggets of wisdom, any words to the wise about your experience or anything that you want to share with the masses? Awesome. Yeah, come out, have fun, don't be afraid. Another theme that we've heard from everybody is just have fun. That's what it's
Yeah,
all. Cycling is supposed to be fun. That's probably why you started doing it in the first place, because you got on a bike, you had a good time. Once upon a time, you had fun riding a bike and you wanted to keep doing it.
yeah.
So
Doesn't stop. Can't forget how to ride a bike.
no, you actually can't. It comes
Yeah,
back.
and then, we have a hashtag. We'll travel for gravel, so we'll go anywhere.
Oh, I like that. Everybody use that hashtag will travel for gravel and
Yeah,
come out and hang with the Cyclepaths with Jason and myself and all the other 670 something Cyclepaths that ride the gravel routes here in Atlanta. Jason, again,
awesome,
thank you
definitely.
for being on the show today. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Until next time, have fun, stay safe, and we'll see you on the gravel. Goodbye,
All right,
everybody.
see you later.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Today's guest was Jason Cormier, founder of Cyclepaths Gravel Club in Atlanta. Really appreciate Jason taking the time to talk to us about his journey through gravel cycling and the Cyclepaths Gravel Club. Next week, be sure to tune in when we talk to Kelsey from Conti's Bike Shop. Kelsey does all the bike fits there at Conti's, and we want to make sure that everybody is as comfortable as possible on their bike. So let's get fit, right? You have a bike fit question, throw it in the comments or send me a message, and I'll make sure to ask Kelsey on the show next week. Until then, have fun, stay safe. We'll see you on the gravel.